while, still trying to adjust this just a little bit. I'm going to share this to a few pages, and then we can get started. Yay! Tonight is another pole transfer thing that I'm doing. Every week I've been posting a poll and letting you all choose which transfer that I do live. And so, let me check the final poll results real quick. I do believe the winner was our Endless Love, Laughter, and Laundry transfer. Let's see, the final results of the poll. 58% to 42%. Awesome. So if you guys shared the poll post before this live started, then I'm putting your name in entry to win a free Chalk Couture transfer. And if you didn't get your name in then, you can share this live video, and I will enter your name now or after the video is over. And so if you have shared the poll post before and the live video now, then you actually get 2 entries. So, couple chances to win some fun stuff. Let me share this here and share to a couple other places. Wait. Sorry. They keep changing up the way they're doing their shares. Okay, now we go. I can share it to the places that I need to share it to. They did make it easier to share recently though, so this won't take near as long as it used to. Used to have to pull each page up individually to share it, and I don't have to do it that way anymore, thank goodness. Make sure I'm not missing any of these. Alright, that should do it. Set this up here so I can see what you guys are seeing. This time I remembered to turn the volume off first, so yay me. And now I'll be able to see who pops on and everybody's comments and stuff like that too. And I can see what you guys see to make sure that you're seeing all of the things that need to be in the camera's view. And forgive me if I don't answer you right away. If you say something, it's hard to do both. All right. Hi, Rachel. I see you just popped on. So if you're joining me now, I'm going to say again, share this live video, and I will enter you in a drawing for a free Chalk Couture transfer and 20% off of a purchase. So if that's something you're interested in, hit the share button, share it on your newsfeed, let your friends see what's going on here, because maybe you aren't that interested in doing this yourself, but maybe somebody that you know who's crafty would think this is super cool, and you'd be helping me and supporting my business just by sharing it with your friends, even if you yourself are not interested in doing it. So this is our vintage truck transfer. This is not the winner for tonight. The winner for tonight is this transfer here. This house has endless laughter, love, and laundry. So it comes like this, and it has a cut line on it so you can see where to cut it. And let me tell you guys, I'm a grown woman. I have 4 kids, and I used to teach preschool, and I can't cut a straight line to save my life. I'm thankful for the cut lines on these transfers, but I can't stay on the line. It's crazy. So I always know which side was my cut side when I'm trying to put my backing back on, because it's the one that's all like wonky and wiggly. So, you know, confession time here. I'm a grown woman and I can't cut a straight line with a pair of scissors. So there we go, I said it. So anyway, this is our vintage truck transfer. It comes in 2 pieces, which I want to show you guys here. So if you are new to Chalk Couture and you've never heard of it before, and you're kind of wondering like, what's up with this company? What is she doing? So Chalk Couture is a company that makes vinyl, adhesive, reusable silkscreen transfers. These transfers can be used 8 to 12 times officially, and if you take good care of them, they can actually be used more than that if you're keeping them clean like you're supposed to. They also make chalk paste, which I have here. It's just a thick chalk paint that dries hard like a paint and can be wiped off with water if you would like to do that on a harder surface. So we also make squeegees and accessories to use with our chalk paste in our transfers. We make lots of different kinds of chalk surfaces. This is one of our non-magnetic boards that we make. We also have lots of other things. We have magnetic boards, we have box frames, we have, oh my gosh, pillowcases, cosmetic bags. I'm trying to think, I know I'm missing something. Oh, a board and base, which I'll show you right here. This is our board and base. It's a 5x7 double-sided chalkboard and a base that just has a wood cutout in it. And you can either put your designs in this way. Obviously, that's not the way I made this, but put them in this way and chalk both sides, or you can put it in this way and chalk both sides. So I made this with my 6-year-old son. So this is how easy Chalk Couture is to do. I can make it with a 6-year-old. And then this is just one color, one transfer. This retails for $7.99. The transfer that I used for this retails for $9.99. And the color is $12.99. And there's enough color and enough sticky on your transfer that you can make multiples of these as gifts. And you really haven't spent hardly any money at all. So anyway, so what else does Chalk Couture make? Inks. We make inks. So our inks are like a thick paste also that you can heat set and make permanent. So you can do clothes, you can do ceramics and glassware. If it can be heat set with a heat press, an iron, or an oven safely, then you can use our inks on it. It's really cool. So anyway, this is our vintage truck design that I did. I did this one a while back, and I kept meaning to add the fall add-on pack stuff to it, and I just never did. So I thought it'd be a fun way to get started tonight before I do the laughter laundry thing. So anyway, if you guys have shared this post, please type share in the comments so I'll know that you have done that. Doesn't always show up when I go to look at who shared stuff. So if you guys would do that, that would be fantastic. This is a vintage truck transfer. It comes in, it's a layering transfer. It comes in 2 pieces. So I laid this one down first, and I did my peacock color, this blue color. And then I laid down my other piece after that dried and just did white over top of it. And it comes out like this, and it looks so cute. I love it. So we're going to do a little adding on to this tonight. We have what's called our vintage truck add-ons. Let me move this over here out of the way, and I'll show you these pieces. Oh, this is part of that one. The vintage truck add-ons, I feel like I'm missing a piece. Oh, here it is. Okay, so my plan is, the vintage truck add-on is for fall right now that we have. We had a summer add-on, there was a spring add-on. The summer add-on had like a canoe and oars and all kinds of little summer activities that you can stick in the back of the truck. This one has a lot of fall activities that you can put in the back of the truck. It's got 2 different kinds. It's got a hay roll and hay bales. And it's got different layering things for this stuff. Farmer's Market, Farm Fresh, it's got all kinds of words on here. Corn maze, it has corn stalks and little bows and the whole thing. It has apple barrels and the apples that go in those. All kinds of stuff on here. So what we're going to do tonight on this particular board is to add our pumpkin patch. Sign up here, put our pumpkins in the back of our truck, and we're going to add an arrow at the bottom and put in here this way. So it'll say pumpkin patch this way and have our little arrow and our little pumpkins in there. It's going to look so cute. Oh, thanks for sharing, Rachel. It's delayed, so even if I don't see it right away, I'm not going to see it right away after you hit it because I have a delay on my screen from what I'm actually saying. So don't worry, if you type something, I'll do my best to catch it. I do see here that my H and my P are going to get cut off on the edges just a little bit, but I actually don't really care. So we'll get started with this one, and here's what you do. This is just a towel, a kitchen towel that I like to use. We fuzz our transfers before we get started, and these are adhesive. there is a sticky on the back of it, and they're really adhesive. Like, that's why you can use them so many times. And so we don't want them to be that sticky whenever we lay it down on our surfaces, or else it can stick really hard and stretch when you pull it up. And if it stretches, guys, it can ruin the way that it lays back down. So to avoid that happening, you fuzz it real well, which literally means picking fuzz up on the sticky part with a towel or your pants. I will warn you against using soft cotton pants though. They're really fuzzy. So I fuzzed on a pair of black yoga pants once and got so much fuzz on there that it didn't stay well on my surface. And then also when I put it in my water to like rinse it in my little pan of water over here, there was so much black fuzz floating in the top, I had to take it in the other room and rinse it and then start again. So you can fuzz on your clothes, but beware, it might make a mess that you have to clean up later. Alright, so I have fuzzed this a few times. Now I'm just going to lay it down here on my surface. I'm going to try to get it as even as I can, but I'm not measuring or anything right now, so one of the good things about these is you can peel them up and re-stick them if it's not where you want it to be. I do that a lot of times because I'm not super precise when I'm laying it down typically. We do have tools to help with that though, which is really cool. They're fairly new. They just released them with our newest transfer release. It's this little tape roll here. I don't know if you guys can see. It's got little tick marks on it that helps you line things up and get them even on your surfaces. It's very useful when you're using fonts because they're individual letters that you want to make level and even and spaced evenly. So that is super, super good for that. I think the way I have it here will probably not work. Typically our designs are even on the transfer piece, so you can line them up and pretty much guarantee they're both going to get on there the right way. Okay, that looks good. So because this is a longer piece and I don't want bubbles in it while I'm laying it down, if you have a bubble next to your silkscreen, A, it can bleed under the silkscreen design, which defeats the purpose of having the adhesive, or B, it can leave a bubble in the silkscreen itself, which leaves the paste color just looking kind of odd. So it looks like this is actually going to lay flat. And I don't care if this bends a little bit. It's not a big deal. It'll lay back on the backer sheet whenever I'm done cleaning it later, and it won't be any problem whatsoever. So I have several colors out here that I'm going to use tonight. But on this transfer, I'm actually going to use... maybe not. I used a silver here. You guys might be wondering, the silver is an ink. I don't usually mix my inks and pastes on my projects, but I wanted this to shine because it's supposed to be like a hubcap. So I don't think we're going to use, this is Storm, this is our gray color, and this is one of our large containers. We have Black Velvet, White, and Storm that come in these ginormous containers, and the other regular size containers are these. And right off the top of my head, I cannot remember how much this one is. I want to say $20, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check on that. If you're curious, just let me know and I can tell you. So anyway, we're just going to do this here real quick, and I think I'm going to use teal. This is one of my favorite Chalk Couture colors. It's a lighter shade of this, basically. I love, love, love this color. Can you guys see that? So this is the teal color, and this is what our paste looks like. This is one I've had for a while, and I've used it a bunch. So I know it's going to be a little dry. I haven't used it in the past week or so. I keep a water bottle with me. So if your paste gets a little dry, a little thick, add water, and you're good to go. That's all you do. I've even had some that have like crusted around the edges. I mixed it in, put some water in there, threw the lid on, left it for a little bit, and then went back to stir it, and it was totally fine. So I'm sure it could eventually dry out to where it couldn't be used anymore, but I've never had that happen so far. So I put some water in there, and I'm giving it a mix, and here's how you use Chalk Couture stuff. I've got a squeegee here. Used to be this size. I cut it down and made smaller pieces to use. You get you some paste on there, just a big old glob of it. I'm just going to put thick layers of it here and there and then smear it all together. I have a hair stuck in that. Hold on. There we go. And I'm smearing this into the silkscreen to make sure that it covers all of the silkscreen area. And what happens is it's left behind when you peel up the transfer, so it goes through the silkscreen onto your surface. One of the things about that though is if it starts to dry on your silkscreen, when you pull it up, it can actually pull up the color and not leave it behind. But once you get it all on there, you scrape the rest off. So I've used such a small amount here, and that's it. You scrape it on, you scrape the extra off, you save it back into your paste container, and then you pull up your transfer. There we go. And I have a pan of water sitting off to the side over here. I just drop these in there when I'm working on a project, and then I rinse it off in the sink. I don't leave it in my pan of water for very long. Just while I'm doing this live is not a big deal, but I wouldn't leave it for, you know, a really long time. I think it messes up the adhesive. So there's that part. So while that is drying, it should take 2 to 3 minutes for this to dry. While this part is drying, I'm going to do the arrow on the bottom. And since we're going for like pumpkin patch, fall color kind of stuff here, I didn't bring all of my colors out. Golly, I can't even get this off. If you notice too, I've marked the backs of my transfer backings, so I know which one goes where. It seems kind of obvious that this one would go on here, but we have other transfers with arrows that are kind of large and look similar in size. And with all of our stuff, like this could be anything. We have a love transfer that's almost exactly this size. So I just write on the back what it is, so I'll know where it goes after I'm finished. Also, I write on it when they're new and it's on the right way, so I also know which is top and bottom, so it'll just lay back on there really easily. So I'm fuzzing this transfer again, just picking up some extra fuzz. And so it doesn't stick so hard to my surface. Cool thing about this arrow is I could point it either way. I don't have any specific way that I want this to go. And because I'm weird and OCD. Hey mama. $24.99. Thank you very much. The Super Stash. These big ones, $24.99. Because I'm OCD and I read, you know, you read like left to right. I'm gonna lay it down left to right. Just because I'm weird like that. And you know what? Sometimes I like to do this to help me get a more center point on my transfers when I'm laying them down. Is pinch it a little bit, get a midpoint on it, and it helps you line it up, or at least get it a little, oh, wrong way. Helps you get it a little bit closer, wrong way in my mind, there we go, to the midpoint. And the way I'm lining it up on the bottom is on these. I'm just letting it touch the bottom. I think that's pretty good. Now I will say, if I'm making things to sell to other people, I measure a lot of the time because, like I said, I'm OCD. But also because, you know, if you're going to be selling your stuff to other people, you want it to be pretty even in the way that people would want it to look in their home. If it's off center, it would look kind of weird, and if people are like me, it would bother them. So the arrow here, I think we're going to do in the storm. Let's do the storm. This is brand new. You guys can see this is how this looks. Brand new. It comes with a foil seal to keep it nice and fresh. Here we go. This is the first time I've opened this and used it, so it's all caked on the top. I had it turned accidentally upside down in my container. So I'm just going to scrape this off. I don't want to waste any of it. It's like precious to me, even though I have this huge container of it. There's a big old glob on there. I didn't want to waste that. So this will just get thrown away, just the foil seal there. And I'm dropping it over here on the edge of my table. I do not care if it gets on my table. I can wipe it off later. So I've got it on my fingers now. So this is our storm. That is so a good gray. I'm going to mix this up real quick and then we'll use it. And I'll probably reuse the squeegee, but I'm going to lay it in my water real quick and then I'll just use my paper towel to clean it off in a minute. Since this is a deep container and I want to get a good stir on it, this is our Chalk Couture multi-tool. You can use it as a squeegee on either end, or you can use it as a stir in your containers. It's got a little hook on it here so it gets under the edge of it really nicely to give it a good stir. This looks like it's going to be pretty thick. It is. I haven't used it. It's been kind of sitting for a little bit, so I'm going to squirt some water in here, mix this around pretty good, and then we can get to using it. If it's real thick, it just doesn't go down as easily, and it takes a little longer to dry, I think. Although I've heard the opposite from people, that it takes longer to dry, or it takes or dries quicker whenever it's really wet. So yeah, I guess that's the way it is. So this is Storm. This is our Super Stash. It's $24.99 if you guys are ever interested in buying a large container. This would be great for and we only sell this in the gray and black and white right now, which is awesome because those are the colors that you use a lot of. I didn't think I was gonna need that much, so I didn't bother to buy extras of that when I first got started. And I've gone through several white and black containers already. And I've only been doing this since February. I think I got my kit at the end of February. So with this one, I'm going to use another cut piece of one of those small squeegees. It's actually the perfect size for this transfer because it's not too wide and it's not going to get off of the edge. Now if you do get it off the edge, not a big deal. You just wipe it off, especially on a surface like this. If you're using it on canvas or something like that, it won't wipe off quite as easily. But oh, thanks for sharing, Christina. Making sure I can see your name right. Yeah. So once again, you just put a glob of this on your squeegee and make sure that it gets in the silk screen. I'm just putting it all over right now to make sure I'm covering the whole area. Covering the entire silk screen. Now I'm going to scrape the extra off because it only takes a little bit to make a cool design. You don't have to make it real thick. The pigments are really rich, I guess you would want to say. And because the pigments are so rich, you don't need to put a whole lot on there. You scrape off the extra, you save it in your container, and you have more to use for next time. So here's our arrow. And I can see that my pumpkin patch stuff's still not quite dry yet. I must have got it on there pretty thick. So I'm going to use my hair dryer real quick. Since I'm doing it in front of you guys, I don't want to sit here for forever waiting for this to dry. Because the next thing we're going to do is put our pumpkins in our truck. And this is a reusable board that I use a lot of the time. So is this one behind me. I don't know if you can see it very good. It's got my pumpkin spice transfer on it. It's one of our magnetic boards that came in my starter kit. And it's really a good board to use too. I like to put magnets on silk flowers and things like that to add an embellishment on those as well, the magnetic board. And they all have this rustic vibe, white frame with like a rustic chic kind of finish on it. This is just about dry. And since I have this on, I'll go ahead and give the arrow a once over so we can do the next transfer next to it as well. So these colors are peacock, silver ink, which you may or may not want to have in your stash, teal, white, and this is Storm. Looks like it's about dry here. If it's not dry all the way and you put a transfer on top of it to layer, it'll pull up your paste color and can mess up your design. So we don't want that to happen. And I'll put a reminder out real quick for those of you who weren't on here when I first started. If you share this post, this live video, then you'll be entered to win a free Chalk Couture transfer from me, plus 20% off of your purchase. So, alright. That ought to do it. Next thing we're going to do here is add our pumpkins. And so these transfers are meant to work with this truck. And the original truck design, I didn't add it because I didn't want it on here. Had a little wood like piece across the top, like it would be holding stuff in the back, you know. And I decided not to put that on my truck. You can do it. I don't know why. I just didn't want it on there, so I didn't do it. I'm fuzzing this transfer just like the others. You're picking up fuzz on the sticky part so it won't stick so hard and it'll pull up easier. And this is just a kitchen towel that I have a set of 5. I think I bought them at Kohl's. I like the fall colors of it. So there we go. Fuzzed it a few times. Now I'm going to put it on here. Let me make sure it's not warm. I don't want to put this down. If it's hot, it'll make the adhesive stick like big time. Made that mistake before. So this doesn't have to go in here any particular way, but I want it right along the edge of my truck bed. So we'll do it like this. And the way this transfer works is this is just the pumpkins, and then we have a separate transfer that goes over top of it. That's the little stems and stuff. So you put this down first, and then you put this one over it after it dries, and you do your little stems separately. And I decided to go with bright colors for my pumpkins and my stems, but I'm going to mix in a little bit of our pumpkin pie color because, you know. And I was just making sure that that was stuck really well around the adhesive. So here's our orange, and this one's called Pumpkin Pie. You can see they're both an orangey color. This one's a little more brown. So I'm just going to mix them both on here and blend them together with my finger. So there's no rhyme or reason to how this is going on here. I just want the colors mixed because they're pumpkins, and pumpkins are not all the same shade of color. Plus, I like doing the ombre thing. I might have a problem with ombre. I do it all the time. So I just get this on here like this. Like I said, no rhyme or reason. I'm going to be blending it all together. So if I get a little more of the brighter color here, not so much of it over there, that's not a big deal. My kids are supposed to be asleep, but I can hear them up there in their room. And my husband left to go get our other kids from church. Had youth group kickoff tonight, so got a new youth pastor, and he's super excited, and they're doing some fun stuff, getting ready to get some things started. So it's just me with the 2 kids upstairs awake instead of sleeping, being loud and making each other mad. I'm sure a fight will ensue soon. They're 6 and 3 and they share a room, so you know. Okay, got those colors on there. Just gonna scrape them all into the silk screen here. I'll come back over it in a minute, and I was gonna use my finger, but I think this is working out pretty good here. I'll go back over it and smooth it in just a second. You can probably see there's like a bunch of lines in there. That's not a huge deal, except that it might mess up. I'm not going to put this back because it's a blend of 2 colors. I don't want to do that. It shows in your design if you don't smooth it and you get some like ridges in there. It'll show thicker where the ridges were. So I'm just trying to get all those kind of smoothed out here before I peel this up. What I love about this is it's so hard to like mess it up, really. Like, unless you're using multiple colors and you're not moving very quick, it can dry on the silk screen and it won't look as great. But I've rarely like pulled something up and been like, oh, that looks awful. Now I've tried to layer designs that I thought would look good together, and turns out they didn't. Now that's a design mistake of my own making, not Chalk Couture's fault. All right, pull this up. There's our pumpkins. And you can see I was laying that right over top of my other paste there, and it wasn't pulling it up. Once it dries, it's pretty good on there. Every once in a while it'll do it, but not typically, especially on our boards. You don't really have to worry about that as much. So that was pumpkin pie and orange that I blended together to make this. And I'm just dropping these squeegees in my water over here. Next, we're going to add the words here. It says this way. Then I'll bust out my hairdryer and we will make sure this is dry before we add our stems on there. Now when I lay the stem transfer down, I'm actually going to have to line it up like legitimately because it goes in the spots in a specific place. So that's the biggest challenge of this whole thing is like lining stuff up, but that's not, you know, a big challenge, and it looks cool when it's done. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's so fun to use. Oh my gosh. And like I've heard people say, well, I'm just not very crafty, I'm not very creative. Well, guess what? You don't have to be with this, because I'm mixing all this stuff together and making all this, but they put it on one thing. You can look at it and go, oh, this is the fall add-on for the vintage truck, so I can do this in any way, and this is already curved, and this piece goes with this piece. Or my next project, the poll winner on my page tonight, it's just one transfer. You can use one color if you wanted to. So one transfer and one color, really easy. So I have fuzz this. I picked up fuzz on my sticky part just so it wouldn't stick too hard. And I'm just going to eyeball this too. Yeah, actually that looks pretty good. I'm smoothing this down around the silkscreen just to make sure it sticks really well so I don't get any bubbling. And I want a bright color down here, so I'm going to do this green. This is also going to be our stems. This is emerald. And because it's really thick, you can see by looking at it, I'm going to give it a stir here. Yeah, I'll have to add some water to that. But like I said, it thickens up. You add some water, give it a good stir, and it's good to go. And I do this, I've started doing this every Sunday night, adding a poll to my business page, asking people which transfers they want to see me make. And I think the last 2 weeks I've done Halloween transfers. Tonight it was between the endless laughter, or love, laughter, and laundry. Let me thin this down just a little bit more. Or the bathroom etiquette, which has like a little tub and a sink and a comb, and there's one other thing. Oh, toothbrush, and it says like relax and brush and all that kind of comb and all that stuff. I have some of our box frames that I bought specifically to use that transfer with. So I was trying to rig the results tonight. I'm not even playing, you guys. I kept telling my husband, go back in and change your thing. I don't have enough. I want to do that bathroom etiquette thing. And I was like, nah, that's okay. I'll go ahead and do this one instead. And he had already picked, and he wasn't going to change his mind. He wanted to do the laundry transfer. I think because he wants me to put that one up in our house. So like I said, you just get some on your squeegee here. Doesn't matter if you get too much. You're scraping the extra off anyway. You add it on your transfer. Make sure it covers all of the silkscreen area. Here we go. Wipe off the extra. Put it back in your container. Kind of make sure that you're smooth around your design. I got a glob of it on there, didn't I? I'm trying to stay away from the edges too because I don't want it to mess up the other part of my design. Although you can wipe it off, so it's not the end of the world. Or a lot of times if it blends, I'm just like, oh, well, that's just the way I wanted it to look. So there we go. All right, I'm peeling it up. One of the things I forgot to say earlier too is try to always peel like top to bottom or left to right. It does have a silk screen in it, which is a fabric, and it's cut on a bias. And if you stretch the bias, it can mess up the transfer. It won't lay right. It'll get bubbles in it, and it'll just be a big pain to deal with later on. So I would recommend you pull it left to right or top to bottom to avoid the stretching, and then you avoid the issues with it altogether. So there's that part. Next we're going to blow dry this super quick, and then we're going to get our stems on there, and we'll be done with this one, and I can move on to the poll winner for tonight. Sorry, I got this on my finger. I'm afraid I'm going to get it on my design if I don't get it off of here real quick. My fingers might just be dyed emerald for the rest of the night. They're so heavily pigmented they stain your skin sometimes, but it comes off like, you know, like a marker, it eventually will come off. I just don't want it to rub off on my next project. Doesn't look like it's going to come off anymore, so that's good. Let me just dry this real quick, and then we'll move on to the last transfer, and this one will be totally done. And we have all kinds of cool transfers. Halloween, we have Christmas and Thanksgiving and fall stuff out. I'll be concentrating on Christmas after a couple of weeks from now. My friend and I are doing a Christmas craft fair together, and we're not selling the Chalk Couture stuff, we're selling our finished products. It's a handmade craft fair. And so my lives starting about the end of September will all start to be Christmas lives, so I can double do my lives and get my projects taken care of for the craft fair all at the same time. This actually looks like it might be pretty dry, but I want to make sure so it doesn't pull up when I lay my next layer down. This is the last layer, the stems for the pumpkins. And these are home decor, and this board is for indoor use, but you could put this on a piece of wood, and you could put a clear coat spray on there. I like to use Krylon or Rust-Oleum. I'm a big fan of the Rust-Oleum Chalk brand clear matte spray, or Rust-Oleum also has a clear chalkboard spray, which is really cool too. It's clear chalkboard, so the official word, I think, on their cans is that you can spray it anywhere and turn any surface into a chalkboard surface, and it doesn't change the appearance. So if you wanted to use the clear chalkboard spray on your wall, you could use it as a chalkboard and not actually have to paint the wall black like an actual chalkboard. So while that's cooling, we're going to fuzz this transfer here and get this last layer down so we have our little pumpkin stems on there. And fuzzing, once again, is just picking up fuzz so it's not so sticky and it pulls up easier. Whenever I'm done with all of this, I take my transfers into the kitchen, I rinse them under some cool water in the sink, and I try to get as much of the extra paste off of it as I can with my fingers or thumbs, and then also kind of wipe off the extra fuzz off the bottom. Then I wipe it with a paper towel, make sure there's not any extra paste left on there, and wipe the backs with a Clorox or a cleaning generic wipe of some kind, and it cleans the fuzz off the back. And so you can put it back on your backer sheet and you just keep using it over and over again. This is a little bit warm. I don't want to lay it down while it's still warm, so we'll just wait just a second here. And I'll show you guys my plan for this next project. I have a towel here, and the reason I have this towel is because I'm going to be making our laundry sign on a big piece of canvas. One of the things about laying the transfers down on canvas is there's a space, a void in here that prevents you from getting like the necessary, leverage is not the word. I cannot think of the word that I'm looking for. Anyway, I want it to press down pretty hard so my transfer adheres better. So if I put the towel underneath of here, then I can push it down and I can get some nice resistance. That's the word I'm looking for. There we go. Get some nice resistance on it so my transfer will stick better. But that's what we're doing our laundry sign on. And the way I'm going to put it on here kind of leaves it open to me either hanging the canvas the way that it is, or I can remove the back of the staples and turn this into a reverse canvas. This is a large board, but it doesn't have the center bar for support across it. Basically what that means is this is a less expensive canvas, but for me it works out perfectly as a reverse canvas because you remove the staples, you take the canvas off, you cut the edge off a little bit, and then you can staple this back on the other side after you've painted or stained your frame, and it makes a really awesome frame. It's kind of a rustic looking frame. Some of them have staples in the corner so you get a little bit of the metal, and because it's not a fancy frame, a lot of times it doesn't quite match up. It just adds to the, in the corner, so it just kind of adds to the rustic look of it. I really, really like reverse canvas. It gives the same appearance actually as the box frames that we sell. Of course, our box frames are much higher quality. They're actual wood. So if you're looking for something a little higher end, I would say buy our box frame. But if you are looking to go on the less expensive route, just get a canvas. Right now, or as of yesterday, they had them buy one, get two free at Michael's Craft Store. So something to consider. Here's the stems. I'm lining these up here. I want it to fit in here just so. And if you guys look, you can't see any of the orange color under here. That means I've lined it up right where it's supposed to be. I don't usually line it up that quick, so it was like impressive even to me that I was able to do that in front of you guys. Usually I have to keep pulling it up, put it back down, pulling it up, put it back down. So I'm just making sure it's sticking really good around the silk screen here. One of my little stems is up here on my lettering, so I'm not going to put anything there. I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to. If I'd been thinking about it, actually, I probably would have done the pumpkin and stems first and then laid the letters down, but this is actually going to work out just fine. Okay, so I just used this one. Its thickness is perfect. And got one more squeegee that I haven't dirtied up yet. So I'm just going to put this on here, make sure it gets in the silk screen areas. And then peel it up after I wipe the extra off. And since I'm doing this all one color, it should go pretty quick. And I don't even have to get more paste out of my container here. I said that, but maybe I do. Nope, maybe not. You just use such a small amount. Like, I just got a little bit on there, and now I'm able to do all of this with just that little bit. These containers last forever. Alrighty. Peel this up, and then our little design here will be completely finished. I see it did peel up a little bit of my pumpkins, but it didn't affect the design, I don't think, at all. So I love this. Oh, I can't wait to put this up somewhere in my house so people can see it. I try to hold this up so you guys don't catch a glare from my light fixture above here. There we go. Nope, that didn't work. Try it this way. So pumpkin patch this way. Put this up in my house for fall. And I'm sure at our next transfer release, which is coming in the middle of this month, actually week after next, they're probably going to have some more Christmas stuff to go along with this. This is just our fall add-on that we have. It doesn't have anything Christmas related, but they've had Christmas related add-ons before, so maybe I can throw a Christmas tree in the back or a little snowman or something like that. Be super cute. So this is our first project for tonight. I'm going to set this one off to the side and bring up my big one here. And first I'll lay my towel down, and then I will throw down my canvas on top of it here. We'll get this next one going. I don't know about you guys, but it has been like a really, really terrible weekend for rain. It has rained all weekend. My 6-year-old son had a soccer game yesterday, and I sat in a chair under an umbrella that was dripping. Oh my gosh, we need more umbrellas. Told my husband, I was like, if we're going to be like the sports parents, we're just going to have to get more umbrellas that are better quality to use. This is one of these small ones that like folds up and fits in your purse, and it was like barely covering me, and I was trying to take pictures, and I was just sitting there like snapping photos, trying to stay dry. Kids were running around getting soaking wet, having a blast, and all the parents are huddling under their umbrellas trying to stay as dry as possible. It's been kind of a blah weekend around here. Alright. This house has endless laughter, love, and laundry. And so I've planned this out ahead of time, what colors I wanted to use. I've seen people do all one color, which is cool. But I kind of wanted to add a little bit of extra color to this. Another reason why I have the Thai teal out here too is because I wanted to use it on this. And also the storm. So my plan with this one is to do this has endless and the word love in Thai teal, and the rest of the lettering and the ampersand, and the storm, and the black, just these lines right here. So I'm going to start with the storm and then do the other ones. I found it's easier to start with your largest color that you're doing on your largest amount of color, and then come back in with the other colors, because it's going to be a lot faster for me to add those real quick than it will be for me to try to do all the rest of it. So you're trying to prevent things from drying as you're working on them. So I'm going to fuzz this real quick on my towel here. Another reason why I like these towels is because they're long. They don't fit all of the transfers well, but they do fit a lot of them. I hear my dog walking around. She might end up coming in here in just a minute. And it sounds like my boys might have finally fallen asleep, so yay. And I'm peeling this way. I don't want the sticky part to stick to itself. I did a live a couple weeks ago where that happened, and it was not good. It took me a while to get it unstuck from itself. I had to go to the sink to do it. It was after I peeled it off of my project, so it wasn't, like, it didn't ruin it completely, but it wasn't great. So, I don't need to fuzz this one as much because I'm putting it on canvas, and it doesn't adhere as well to canvas. It's like a mix between fabric and hard surface, so it adheres, but it doesn't adhere well as it does to like a chalkboard or a piece of glass or something like that. So a couple times I ought to do it for this one. And you can kind of tell sometimes if you peel this off the backing, if it's like exceptionally sticky, then you'd want to fuzz it more for sure. So I'm going to line this up as best I can from top to bottom and side to side. Like I said, most of the time our designs are in the center of the transfer. Even if there's cut lines on there, they've pretty well centered it up, so you don't have to worry about it as much. So if you line up the whole transfer piece, the design in the middle should be pretty even. Alright, I think top to bottom I'm good. And actually, side to side also looks pretty good. Now a lot of times, like I said, I measure this. I have a tape measure that I keep close by in case I need to use it. Alright, that ought to do it. And for these big designs, to make sure I don't get bubbles in them, I'll start at the top and run my hand down it this way to keep from getting bubbles in my adhesive. And you all don't forget to share this. Everyone who shares this video gets entered into my contest, into my drawing for a free transfer and 20% off of your purchase. So this is just like a little border design, and I'm going to do this on each side. And I like the way that it was lined up with the original transfer. This is how this transfer came. It has a cut line on it, and I cut it apart. But I like that it is even this way. So I can lay it down like this. Then I can pop this over on this side right here and do the exact same thing on this side. And it'll be even on both sides. So I'm gonna fuzz this one real quick before I get started on this. And because it's two separate pieces, I can work this piece first and then this one, or vice versa, and not worrying about it drying. A lot of times I'll cut apart these larger transfers just so I can work a piece at a time and pull it up without worrying about it drying on the rest of the thing. Some people work a lot faster than me and they don't have to worry about that, but that's not me. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can go ahead and ask while I'm doing this stuff. I can kind of see your responses and stuff on there. And like I said, there's a bit of a delay, so whenever I'm talking and then what you say comes up a little delayed. So I think that's probably good for this one too. I'm going to lay this down on here. Square it up here as best I can. Actually, I think I'll do it like this. Try to get it even. I don't think it'll be that noticeable if it's not exactly precise. but at least most of the guesswork is done for me because it was lined up when I cut it apart. Okay, and these lines will be black. I forgot to talk about that earlier. So we're going teal, 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 gray, gray, and then black lines here and black lines here. That should look pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get all my containers open and ready to go. And this is the angled squeegee. That's what I'll be using for the larger lettering. And I'm going to wipe off my other squeegees that I was using so I can use them for this stuff. And I had just dropped them in this pan of water over here so that I could get them out and clean them off to reuse. And I'm literally just taking a paper towel here, cleaning off the extra paste from earlier. It's water wipeable and washable, but it dries hard so it won't wipe off like chalk does. It's actual paint. So I use this one and that one. I got a little water on here. And I'll use a couple of these small ones too. Yeah, I'll need a few small ones. Sorry, you guys can't see me right now. Let me clean this off and I'll be back in your screen. Got 3 of them here I'm trying to clean off. And I'm getting it on myself, so you know, that's always great. When I finish my projects, my surface and or myself usually look like a little kid did it. My designs look great, but like I'm not a clean crafter, like at all. I get it everywhere, like pretty much every time. It's on me, sometimes on my clothes, sometimes it's on my table or my fabric. But like I said, this chalk stuff, it cleans off so easily that it's not really a big deal. Alrighty, almost done here. Then we can get on this. Alright. Yep, that'll work. So, I'm using tie teal and black and storm. The only one that I haven't mixed up today is the black. So I'll open that and give that a stir real quick and make sure I don't need to add anything to it. If you notice, I'm trying not to open it over this because it gets some around the edges sometimes and can little flakes on your work. Not that that ruins it, you kind of just blow it off, but yeah, it's a little bit thick. And I'm running low of this, so I have another one. I learned now, if I'm getting a little bit low, I just go ahead and order it back up when I'm placing an order. Because I don't want to run out. Black, white, gray, those are colors that I use a lot of. Cool, so that one's ready. Alright, got everything I need right here, ready to go. Move some of this stuff out of the way. And we are going to start with this storm color. So I'm just going to dip this in here, get a bunch on. I just need to be careful that I don't get too close to these other areas where I'm putting the different color on here. So actually I think I'll start down here. I think it'll be easier to do that. And I actually saw somebody do something the other day that I'm going to do. I watch videos of other designers to get ideas and stuff. She used our multi-tool to add paste to different areas of her surface before she started doing it. It helps her move a lot faster, so I thought that was a really good idea, so I'm going to do that as well. Clean this off too. And just have this all ready to go. Sorry you guys are sitting here looking at this board and I'm not doing anything, but I am talking about our products, so I guess that's something. Alright, cool. She used this end right here and she just kind of put it all over where she was going to be needing it and then used her squeegee to clean it off. So I think that's a fantastic idea. I'll do the same thing. I don't drip it all over everything. Another thing too, if I were to get this kind of in some places where I didn't want it to be, I could just be like, oh, well, yeah, then that's going to be that color now and make it part of the way that the design looks. Cool. So I've got that on there. Use my squeegee here. A little piece got stuck on there. If I don't have enough, I can always add more. But I'm just going to scrape this over here and make sure that it gets in the silk screen really well, all the way around. I'm going to have to move a little faster on this when I get to my other colors, simply because it can dry on your silk screen, and then whenever you pull it up, you're actually going to be pulling up the color, and it won't stay behind the way you want it to. I'm getting a little close here on my love. There we go. I could feel there's bubbles in this. Oh, that stinks, because it might not turn out as great as I wanted it to. Oh no. Oh, that's alright. Got a little crazy over here next to my has endless. But once I add my black in here, I think it'll be alright. When you're using a big squeegee like this too, it's hard to like get in tight spots as carefully, because you can't even see as well like what you're getting close to. There we go. Let me scrape off the extra of this. Put it back in here. I don't want to waste it. You can also see over here where I kind of missed a little bit, so there we go. Problem solved. Just trying to smooth this out a little bit. Now I'm going to get my other colors over here. My teal color. I'll use this little one for these spaces. Like I said, I got to move a little quickly because the gray will dry. And then I'll do the side separately as soon as I get done with this. Covering the silk screen completely here. That's my goal. Scraping off the extra. I'm going to have to throw some chunks of it down here. And then I'll use my bigger squeegee here to smooth this one out. There we go. That's why it's nice to have multiple squeegees. I mean, when you first start out, obviously you're not going to have a bunch unless that's something you just want to invest in. But having multiple squeegees does make it easier to do these kind of projects. Alright, I'm almost done with this. Then we'll pull the whole thing up and see what that looks like. And lastly, here's the black on my lines that I kind of covered with the gray by accident here. I think this is going to look really cool. I like the color combination. It's kind of a cool color palette for a laundry room. I like a light blue and stuff too. It's kind of like a clean, fresh color to me. So I have a light blue shade that we don't sell anymore. It's called Coastal Blue. But I didn't think it would pop off of this canvas very well. That's why I didn't want to use that. So here we go. Got it all done here. We're just going to go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to be careful not to let the sticky part stick to itself. And I'm pulling it slowly so I don't stretch my transfer. It's still stuck really good though, so that's kind of cool. You always kind of wonder. And I didn't get the bubbling in it like I thought I was going to. Awesome. That looks so good. And y'all, I'm literally sticking this to the back of a chair over here until I can take it to the sink and let it dry so it doesn't stick to itself. So there's that part. Yay, I like the way that looks. And now that I've got all this open and my little lines over here already, I'm going to go ahead and smear my black on this strip here. And I do have a finished product page that I realized just now that I forgot to add the link to, so I'll add that to this post whenever I'm done. But it's the Wooden Lady on Facebook here. And I sell finished pieces that I make. So if you guys see anything that catches your eye and you think you might be interested in it, just hop on over to that page and you can check that stuff out there. I have a VIP page as well. I've recently revamped how I do that page. So it's tips and tricks and about home decor and about Chalk Couture and a lot of different types of things. It's a little more interactive than my business pages. All right, let me peel this up. And this is typically like a no-no for doing transfers, but because I'm using the exact same color on the exact same board, I'm gonna lay this right over here. And I kind of got a vibe for like where distance-wise it was from the top and bottom and the whole deal there. So when I lay this down, it should be pretty even with the other one. I'm actually going to use this to smooth it down since I don't want to touch all that paste with my finger. There we go. Now it's stuck back down. So typically I would clean this off and then lay it back down after I wiped it, but because I'm using the same color and I just finished with that one and it's not got any paste dried on it, then I'll go ahead and reuse this one right away. Also for time-saving purposes for this video. My black is getting so low, I'm having trouble getting the color out. Alright, now I'm just going to scrape the extra off and this whole thing will be done and ready to hang. Or like I said, I can peel the canvas off and make a reverse canvas out of it, stain the frame, paint it black, or I'm a big fan of the dark color wood. So I like the really dark walnut colors and stuff like that whenever I'm staining wood. Golly, I keep seeing more lines in there. I didn't think I was getting enough, so I kept globbing more on, and I globbed a little more than needed. Alright, I gotta be careful too because I have this black ink all over, or black paste all over my fingers now. But like I said, top to bottom or side to side when you're filling this up. There we go. Stick this one to the back of the chair over here, away from the other one. Alright, that's my finished project there. I think you guys picked a good one. This was our poll winner, and everybody who shared this live video tonight is entered to win a free Chalk Couture transfer, and I'll show it to you. It's one of our cute little, this one's a 4x6 actually. We have 4x6 and 5x7, and we have one that's smaller and it says the word love, and I'm not even sure how big that one is, like 2x4 or something like that. So this is a transfer I'm giving away. All good things are wild and free. This is one of my absolute favorites. I make shirts with this. I've used the different letters for different things. Sometimes I just put wild and free on things. But this one is super cute, and it would go really good on our board and base here. I'm holding it weird because I have paste on my fingers. But it fit really good right here with a little bit of embellishments around it. Be really cute. So this is the one that I'm giving away. After I get done with my live tonight, I'll go back through all the shares and make sure I add everybody's name to the list. But I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I think our projects turned out really good. Let me show that other one again. Here we go. Our pumpkin patch with the vintage truck. And I really was torn about doing the pumpkins or doing the apple barrels. So there's a big chance that I might actually switch this up and do apple barrels like for the next couple weeks after that. Because one of the things I like about going to apple orchards is they sell pumpkins and apples at most of them. So anyway, this house has endless laughter, love, and laundry. I really appreciate you all joining me tonight. If you guys are interested in purchasing anything, I will put my website link on our on this post. And if you guys think this might be something that you would be interested in doing, just type info in the comments, and I will definitely get back with you. If there's anything that you guys are wanting to know, I'll give you a few minutes to ask some questions, and then I can answer them. No question is too silly, and just because, ask it in public, please, because somebody else might be wondering the same thing and they just won't ask. So I'll give you guys just a few minutes to do that. I love the way this turned out. I like the colors too. This seems very clean to me. That teal color is one of my favorites. I also like the peacock shade, which is the one I did on this truck. This darker aqua color. I would say this is more of like an aqua, and this is more of like a teal. Well, of course it's called teal, so. But I really love this color too. And wild berry, which is the color that's on this board and base here. is one of my favorites. I think they're all my favorites in different ways, actually. So, thanks, Kara. So yeah, if you guys need any information or are curious about anything, just let me know. I'll just give a couple more minutes in case somebody else wants to hop on here and ask a question or two. But yeah, this company is super fun to work with. I signed on as a hobbyist because I love to craft. I saw my sponsor post a video on one of our direct sales pages that I was a part of with a different direct sales company. And before I even tried it, I was like, ooh, that's my thing right there. I can already tell. So I signed up before I even tried it and got a starter kit because I was going to do it as a hobby. You get a 40% discount as a designer, so I'm always about the discounts. Plus, the starter kit's only $99, and it comes with like $240 worth of stuff. So 5 of these paste containers plus 8 transfers for $100 is a really, really good savings. I did the math, and it's like 59.8% savings if you buy the starter kit. So something to consider if you guys are thinking about doing something like it. You don't have to run this as a business. I decided to run it as a business after I signed up, but it's not a requirement. There are no minimums on your discounts, so it doesn't matter if you buy a $5 transfer or if you buy a $40 transfer or put a $500 order in. You're still going to get 40% off regardless. But I will tell you, just a warning, it's addictive, so if just a heads up, I don't want you to say that you didn't know when you first started that you would get addicted to this the way that I have, because it's super fun. I guess there's no questions though, so if you guys need anything, please message me. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you all have. And I guess that's it. Have a good night.